Thomas Goes Quackers. New Year was around the corner, but the North Western Railway was still very busy. On Thomas's branch line, a new engine came to help out while Percy was away. She was a jolly engine that loved giving a helping buffer. One evening, the new engine had been asked to pick up a goods train from the quarry. The STM were replacing the worn-out track, and the engine was asked to take the broken rails away. Soon she was speeding down the line with her load. Snow and frost were everywhere. She was just approaching McColl's farm when suddenly she saw what looked like a snowdrift across the tracks. "Stop!" she cried. Her driver braked hard, and they stopped just in time. "Where did this lot come from?" asked the fireman. The engine was wondering this too, when she heard a noise from the snow. "Well, I never," said the driver. "It's Farmer McColl's sheep. They must have escaped again. I'll go and get help." Luckily, the farmhouse wasn't far away. The driver walked off for help, while the fireman stayed with the engine. Soon the driver returned with the farmer and his sheepdog. They soon had all the sheep off the track and back into their winter barn. "Sorry for the hold-up," said Farmer McColl. "These sheep always seem to find a way out." "It's all right," said the driver, "but we must be on our way." So the new engine set off. She tried to make up for lost time, but when she arrived at Tigmouth, she was late. That night, the new engine stayed at the branch line sheds. She told them all about the sheep. Toby and Lady were sorry for her, but Thomas found it a great joke. "Fancy letting some small animals make you late," he teased. "A big tank engine like yourself scared of some sheep?" "Pay no notice," said Toby. "Animals are dangerous on the tracks. I remember when Champion the bull wandered onto the rails. I had to help get him to safety." "Big animals, yes, you have to be careful of," continued Thomas. "But you won't catch me being stopped by such small creatures." "How can an engine of his age still be so cheeky?" Lady asked herself. The next day all the engines went back to work. The new engine worked with Toby taking care of the goods trains, while Thomas and Lady looked after the passengers. But every time the new engine passed Thomas, she heard him making a baaing noise at her. She was beginning to think that Thomas was being very childish. Later that day, Thomas was returning down the line with his coaches Annie and Clarabelle. The snow and frost were getting thicker. "Oh, this cold is making my wheels shiver," he said to himself. Just outside Hackenbeck, the line crosses a small bridge over the river. Thomas saw the bridge. Then he shouted at the top of his voice, "Stop!" His driver applied the brakes, and Thomas skidded to a halt. "What's the matter?" his driver asked. Thomas looked down. There in front of his buffers was a family of ducks. "I didn't know ducks could lay eggs this time of year," wondered Thomas. "This one did," replied his driver. "Well, we can't leave them here. They'll freeze in this weather." "I know," said the fireman. "My sister runs the animal shelter at Elsbridge. She'll take them in until spring." The fireman quickly made a call to his sister on his phone, while the driver and the guard tried to catch the ducks and chicks. They ran everywhere on the bridge. The guard even tried to catch them with his hat. Thomas tried his best not to hiss steam. He didn't want to scare them. At last, all the ducks were caught and placed in a cardboard box the guard found in Clarabelle. He then took the family into the guard compartment and Thomas set off again. When Thomas arrived at Elsbridge station, the fireman's sister was there waiting for him. She took the box and took the ducks to the shelter. When Thomas did finish his run, he was very late indeed. Thomas was worried that Miss Emily Happ would be cross, but thankfully she was very understanding. "I'm pleased my engines not only look after their passengers, but everyone around them too, even animals." "Yes, ma'am, Sorry, ma'am. But worse was to come when Thomas got back to the sheds that night. Fancy letting some small animals make you late, teased Toby. You won't catch Thomas being stalked by such small creatures, added the new engine. Thomas was cross, but secretly he knew he deserved it.